In this video, I want to talk to you about how we're going to use the simulator. Okay, now if you use this on your iPad, basically to hold something and drag it, you got to use 2 fingers or 3 fingers to hold something and move it around. You use 2 fingers because it's a right click. Okay, so there's different number of fingers to just select something that's a single finger on the screen. Okay, so if you're using it from your iPad, it is a little bit more challenging, but it is still doable. Okay, we're basically one of the things we want to do mainly is we want to use the AC circuit construction simulator. So you click on the AC construction simulator, you can double click on the top to bring it up in a full screen. Over on the left hand side here are our choices of what we're going to put in. I'm suggesting you stick with the battery. So what you do is you click on the battery, you hold it, and you drag it over on the screen. Now, one of the best things you can do is get used to, we can make it a little bit big. We can put it up at the top of the screen, okay, and that can give us our wiring starting point. You grab the wire, drag it over. You can extend that wire by clicking and holding on the red circles. Anytime that's a red circle, it's a connection point or something with some of the components you can make bigger. Okay, I'll take another wire. I'll put it on the negative side of the battery. I'll drag it over. Okay, now we need to have our switch because we got to have a switch anytime. So let's make a switch on my downward here so we keep it sort of neat. I'll throw another wire in here. I'm going to throw a wire in. I'm going to connect the switch and my main wiring up there. Okay. Drag it down a little bit just because. And again, give yourself plenty of room. You want this to be neat, okay? Because you need to have plenty of room around that switch because you actually, in this simulator, you open and close the switches. Okay, we're going to, in this case, I want to have 2 light bulbs. We'll put them in series with each other. Okay, so I'm going to have 2 light bulbs. So I'm going to put my wire in on light bulb number 1. Put my wire there. I'll put my wire there. Okay, again. Okay, right click on a junction. If you ever right click on a junction or something, you could split that junction and it will take the wire off. Okay, I'm going to put my wire there because I want to have this bar coming up to the side. Put that there, and I'll just complete my circuit. Okay, now, what we want to do is we want to set the voltages different, okay? So in this case, I want to set my battery voltage is too low at 9 volts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on it, or 2 fingers if you're on an iPad. I'm going to set this voltage up. We're going to simulate what we would see on household current. Okay, so I'm just going to put 120 volts. I think it will take that. And we're going to click done. Now, I'm going to take a look at the resistance because on 120 volts, 10 ohms resistance is going to be too low. I'm going to pull both of these up to 50 ohms of resistance. Okay? And I'm going to do the same thing there. Right click on it, change the resistance. Let's take this up to 50 ohms of resistance because 10 ohms is just going to be too small. Okay, over here on the switch, all we have to do is click on the switch, hold it, and close the switch. Okay, now we have a series circuit with 2 light bulbs. Now, one of the things we want you to do is be able to take an amp clamp. Okay, so you come over here to Tools, your non-contact ammeter is what we want to do. The minute you click non-contact ammeter, it puts a move over to read the amperage. Okay, so you drag and drop this over the wire, and it will read the amperage. In this case, it's saying 1.16 amps. Okay, move it off. You can move it all the way around. You can put it any place in a series circuit, that amperage is going to be the same. Okay, sort of neat. Okay, we're going to open this switch. Actually, let's go ahead and do the meter. Okay, voltmeter. I have a voltmeter over here. It has 2 leads. Okay, I have a black lead. You just drag hold of it, three fingers on an iPad, and you put the black on the negative side of the battery, the red is your positive. I read 120 volts at my power source. I come down across the switch. There's a little bit, it's still effectively 120 volts. Come between the bulbs. I'm now reading 56 volts or 57 volts. Come to the other side of the bulbs. I'm back to 0 volts because now my meter's on the same side of the load. So again, we can read just like you would be in the field. You can drag and drop your meters any place you want. Okay, we can put our meters across an open switch or across a closed switch. Drag this over, put it on each side of the switch. We have 0 volts. You grab hold of your switch and open the switch. I now have 120 volts. So I've proven my voltage across a closed switch is 0. Voltage across an open switch is source. Okay. Now, I can also rearrange this circuit if I wanted to be a parallel circuit. I can split the junction, move some bulbs around. Okay. All I'm going to do is move stuff around. So I could put my bulbs in parallel. Okay. Actually, let's redo that. Okay, I'm just going to do that. Now I need one more wire. I'll grab a wire over here. Okay, and I might as well junction it there because any place I put it on that side. Now, these two bulbs are now in parallel. So if I close the switch, I still get... let's close this. Let me get rid of this meter. Okay. So now my two bulbs are in parallel. Now if I go my voltage across each bulb, okay, we should see what voltages in parallel are. Okay, 119 on that bulb. Come down to this bulb. You see that both bulbs are getting full source voltage. If I take my amp meter in here, my total amperage is now 4.82 amps. Amperage at bulb 1 is 2.22. Amperage at bulb 2 is 2.4. Again, there's a slight resistance difference. Okay, so the amperage now to the total amperage adds, and you can see that. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do with this system, okay? You can actually drag and drop the components around. You can open and close switches. And by using and dragging your voltmeter around in certain places, you can actually get that. Okay, your voltmeter and everything works for real. For your resistance readings, this system does not have an ohm meter. Okay, so I can't really take resistance. Okay, but if you right click on the bulb using 2 fingers on the iPad, okay, if you right click on it, you can actually get you can see your resistance. Okay, but remember, I had you set that resistance. Because if you just use the original resistance, which was way down there like at 10 ohms or something like that, if you just use the original resistances, okay, bad things happen because your amperage is going to be too high for some of the components in this circuit. You see the smoke and fire? That's not a good thing. Okay, so again, use the resistances. Okay, so I'm just going to take that out of there. Okay, so that's how you use the simulator for the circuit simulation kit. Okay, and again, that's available on Simutech, on the Simutech server.